Hey, peace and black power to the people. Peace and black power to the people. We back. You know how Underground Warrior TV do. We come back with the powerful message. And we hope this video tonight be somewhat of enlightenment to our people who may be walking sleep and don't know what's going on around them in America, trying to assimilate and with a people whose by nature is the enemy to the black race. We're talking about the Neanderthal, the Caucasian people. You have to warn your kids and give your kids knowledge of themselves. Give them the knowledge that they don't teach in school. It's time that we sat down and had a talk with our children. You send our kids out in the world and tell them to love everybody, but everybody don't love black kids. Everybody don't love black people. Everybody don't love black teenagers. Everybody don't love black women and black men. This world is anti-black, and you have to tell your people that. You have to warn your people. You have to teach your kids the very truth. You know what happened to Nolan Wells. He went out on a lake called Horn Lake, which I wouldn't even visit myself because the name sounds wicked, Horn Lake. But anyway, before we talk about the Nolan Wells case, I want to prove my premise, my thesis about how I see it. And if we don't give warning to black kids, black teenagers, us grown-ups trying to assimilate and move to the outskirts away from the inner city, around black people, you want to move around white people because you feel your life will be more safe around the Caucasian race. But that's not the case. This is the people who've been killing your people every day since we've been in this country, since your existence up on this planet as black people. I don't care if you're at the age of 5. Your 5 years on the planet, there's been a constant killing of black people. If it's not black people killing black people, other races, especially the Caucasian race and the Arab race, take turns of killing black people every day. So before we talk about the Nolan Wells case, remember 3 months ago in April, a similar case happened out of another racist state, Texas. You remember Daniel Irving, 18-year-old black male teen, who went on a fishing trip with his white friends, who took him out to a lake and unalived him. Check this video out, and we'll be right back.
Tonight, the push for answers in the death of a North Texas teen. 3 months after the body of 18-year-old Daniel Irving was found in Lake Ray Hubbard, there's been an arrest in connection with the case. Our Jayla Washington breaks down the timeline of the last few months ahead of an update from attorneys tomorrow.
Photos from over the years are some of the few things 18-year-old Daniel Irving's family has left. The body of the honor roll high school senior, who was on the swim team, according to his family, was found here in Lake Ray Hubbard nearly 3 months ago. And hand in hand since losing him, his loved ones are desperate for answers.
As a mother, I knew something had happened to my child.
On April 13, Daniel's mother says 2 males who were her son's friends picked him up from their home to go fishing. She says she couldn't reach him shortly after.
I called and texted my son multiple times, and there was no reply. I was immediately alarmed.
The next day, on April 14th, she filed a missing persons report with the Rowlett Police Department. Daniel had left behind his driver's license and money, which made her even more worried. After police put out a community alert online on April 16th, Daniel's body was found in Ray Hubbard Lake on April 17th, 4 days after he went missing. Daniel's mom says police told her they couldn't ping his phone before then because of privacy laws.
They have been met with delays instead of accountability.
Civil rights advocacy groups Next Generation Action Network and justice seekers are now working with the family and have criticized how the Rowlett Police Department has handled the case. The groups say one of the people Daniel was with before he went missing came forward after his body was found and said what happened was an accident.
Daniel left a home with somebody, went out there, Lake Ray Hubbard, with somebody, but nobody called his mother, nor called 911.
Police arrested 19-year-old Lucas Roper on July 9th, nearly 3 months after Daniel's death, and charged him with tampering with evidence with the intent to ruin it.
And even if he did drown, why did it take you 4 or 5 days to say anything? And that's what the family is so disturbed about.
The Dallas Police Department has now taken over the investigation. Rowlett Police told NBC5 it was unable to discuss details while the investigation remains open.
Just as unnerving, the tragic death of Daniel Irving. Just as unnerving. I mean, when you think about, as I understand from Sean, these just facts that aren't adding up at all. 2 young white men come to his house to pick him up, and they go fishing, swimming, and then they come back. But yet, Daniel doesn't. And the fact, if I understand correctly, Sean, they throw away his cell phone, they throw away his clothes, they don't tell his mother or anybody else what happened. And it's 4 days later, after Minister Dominique has got the community saying, where is Daniel Irving? And people are starting to have search teams, and the media is starting to ask questions. And finally, then these 2 young white men come forward, and they say, oh, he drowned. It was an accident. But we were too afraid to come forward. We got rid of his evidence. We got rid of his phone. We deleted all our text messages. But just take our word for it. It was an accident. You don't need to really investigate. Just take our word for it. Where there's smoke, Dominique, there's fire. Sean, if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, if it sounds like a duck, then it's a duck.
Can somebody tell me, how do a fishing trip subsequently turns into a swimming trip? The white teens, the 2 white teens proclaimed, one of the white teens proclaimed they jumped into the water. All 3 of them jumped into the water. A swimming trip now from a fishing trip. It's funny that the white teens did not report to no one that their friend accidentally drowned. They threw away all his belongings, his clothes, his cell phone. To me, that's suspicious to hide the evidence. I don't know if these 2 teens will be charged with unaliving his brother. And I wouldn't be surprised if good old boy Texas let the teens walk with murder. You see? So it's a pattern of these unalivings happening in America. It's been at least 80 lynchings in 2026 and unaliving of black people. And cops and everybody call it an accident. So before we get into the Nolan Wells case, which we're going to expound on, I have to show a pattern of these unaliving by white people. So it may be an uncomfortable conversation that you may have to have with your children, with your kids, about the white race, the Neanderthal, who's capable of any time acting on this pathological disease called racism or towards black people. They don't love black people. We teach, black people teach, love everybody, but everybody doesn't love black people. We got to stop that crazy teaching. You got to save your kids. They don't go camping with white people and be the only black person there. Stay away from the water. Stay away from boats and ships with white people, and you're the only black person there. This is the knowledge that you should be feeding your kids. There's nothing wrong with the truth. It may hurt to know that the Caucasian nation by nature doesn't love black people. They would kill you. And that's a fact. So can we learn from these tragedies of other black people who suffer at the hands of the Neanderthal race? You don't go camping with them. You don't be the only black person there. They'll play truth and dare with their friends to do something to you. You stick out like a sore thumb. You feel me? They're nothing like us. Check this video out, and I'll be right back.
The parents of Nolan Wells say they're ready to share their son's cell phone with the authorities investigating his death.
We will have a mutual inspection of the cell phone with our experts and their experts.
His mother tracked the phone to someone who was with Wells on Horn Island and suggested some content may have been deleted. On Wednesday, the family met with the district attorney, who will present the case to a grand jury to decide whether what happened to Wells involved a crime.
We had a very respectful meeting.
The case and its developments are evoking strong reactions. The FBI is now assisting investigators in Mississippi and says it is working to address interstate threats that were received by individuals related to this matter. None of the recipients was identified, but Trayston Shepard told us he and other friends of Wells who were with him on the island have received threats.
It worries me. It worries me for my friends. It worries me for my family. At the end of the day, man, we're all young adults and we're still learning this whole adulthood / life thing, and we did no wrong here, and we don't understand how we're getting so much hate behind it.
This video, obtained by ABC News, shows Horn Island beginning to fill with boats and revelers July 4th. And we saw the area firsthand where Wells is believed to have drowned. His body was recovered 2 days later. And this morning, dispatch audio from the boat Wells's friends took home in distress. A person heard requesting help.
We're sinking. Can you all please come?
And is everybody on board in good health otherwise?
Yeah, everybody's on board.
Friends told us Wells stayed behind with a girl he had met. While the community and Wells's family await answers, they're planning the 18-year-old's funeral.
We know, Ben, that you said that you're going to do an independent investigation.
Yes.
And You said you have Nolan's cell phone and messages were deleted. How could you tell messages were deleted?
Well, his parents got the phone back, and that's something that's important, Michael, because they tracked this phone on Life 360.
So Life 360, but when I received the phone call from Warren, I immediately called my friend Toshima, and I said, hey, have you guys seen Nolan? Because her two sons, Jalen and Javon, like they grew up together. They played City League sports together. When they got into school, they played sports together. And so she was like, hey, like, okay, the boys were pulling up the location from Snapchat. So the Snapchat location looks completely different than the Life 360 location. So when I pulled up Life 360, it was different. It was showing everywhere the phone had been. Like I was like, well, it's showing that he's back on land. Like I'm not. He's like, but no, he didn't come back with us.
Well, how were you able to get the phone?
So we tracked it, and my friend Toshima went and picked it up.
It wasn't like they said we got his phone. They tracked it, and that highlights all these contradictions, Michael. The fact that they said Nolan was talking to a young woman, and she said that he said, I'm going back to get on the boat with the boys. The boys said that he said he was going to stay with her. And so that's an obvious contradiction. And then this video of this, you can hear an argument going where Nolan is saying, give me my freaking phone. What are you freaking doing? And so then his phone ends up missing. I don't know any teenagers, Michael Strahan, who says, if you believe their story, I'm gonna stay behind and I'm gonna leave my phone. I mean, no young person leaves their cell phone. And so then there's so many things their parents were telling us about, even why didn't his body wash up with the tide on Sunday? Why would it come on Monday? It's not adding up.
And that's a fact, Black family. It's adding up. It's adding up to homicide, unaliving, another ritual of a Black man on the 4th of July. The white man's Independence Day. While we celebrate the white man's Independence Day in racist Mississippi, Nolan Wells' white friends are planning to unalive him on an island called Horn Island. Who attends an island called Horn Island? It sounds wicked within itself. How did this Black teen, a promising football player, die mysteriously on Horn Island? A known athlete who can swim, but he dies from a drowning and no one reports it. None of the teens reported to his parents. There's conflicting contradiction when it relates to the information. How did Nolan Wells die? There's conflicting contradiction information about, did Nolan tell Katie, this girl he's supposed to have met? He told her that he was leaving with his friends on the boat, but his friends said he met Katie, he wanted to stay back and chop it up with her. He wanted to stay and fraternize with her. But how the hell did the friends end up with his cell phone? Who leaves their cell phone? Doesn't make sense. It's adding up to the perpetrators who hid the cell phone, who didn't come back and report the accidental drowning. How come the Coast Guards weren't alerted that there was a friend in the water? There's Coast Guards that could have been alerted. Why did everybody keep it a secret? He wanted to stay on the island. That's what he told his friends, that he wanted to stay on the island. Deleted messages and things in the cell phone. That tells you right there someone needs to be arrested. In Mississippi, toxicologist, racist Stacey Turner, this is the same lady who said Trey Reed hung himself, it was a suicide. The same person who said that Rasheem Carter was undetermined, unalivened, when we know that he was chased down by some white men because he called his mother and told his mother. By the time they got to the city where he was at, they couldn't find him. They find him months later, but just his head, where they cut his head off. The white men cut him up. But this chief medical examiner from racist Mississippi finds it undetermined. Just like Damian Cameron, 29-year-old black man who had an encounter with the Mississippi police beat him to death. She ruled it undetermined. She ruled his death undetermined. So it's a must that the Wells family get an independent autopsy on Nolan. Because racist Mississippi protect white people. Racist Mississippi is the same place in 1955 where they killed Emmett Till. Mississippi has a racist history. So when we gonna educate the kids about this white supremacy system? When we gonna educate each other about this white supremacy system? We as a people are destroyed on all levels of life when dealing with the plague of ignorance, especially when it comes to the plague of white supremacy. White people in general, you know, we lack the knowledge when dealing with the psychic and pathological behavior of white people. The system of white supremacy was built on bloodshed of our ancestors. And to maintain that control and dominance, they do it with violence, the killing of black people. On a global level, not only in America, they kill black people on a global level. So no matter where you at when you black, you been oppressed by the caveman, by the white supremacy system. So it makes no sense for black people from different countries and different nations to bicker with one another when we should have a global unification, just like the white man has a global unification of white supremacy. Am I right or wrong? Does the white man has a global unification, united in global white supremacy dominance? We should have a global unification of black supremacy dominance. You see what I'm saying? So it makes no sense for us to bicker African versus black people in America, Haitians versus black people, South Africans versus Nigerians. We all are the same people at the end of the fucking day. No matter where we at, we are being oppressed, disunified by nationality. Because in reality, We have one enemy, but we are separated by where we born, where we from. So what we gonna teach the kids? What we gonna teach each other about this white supremacy dominance? Do not take your ass nowhere with white people by yourself around no motherfucking water, no railroad tracks, no woods. You take your ass nowhere with white people by yourself. Let these tragedies be a lesson. Peace and black power. I'm out of here.